Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 AP English, the Roberts Lectures. We are in the poetry section. We are working now with Kay Ryan's Crib. Ryan, born in 1945, American poet and educator. She was the 16th Poet Laureate from 2008 to 2010. And in 2011, she won both the MacArthur Fellow as well as the Pulitzer Prize. Very important and influential poet, and this is one of our favorites in 303. We love this poem, a 1997 offering, Crib. Now, of course, let's put it in our notes right away to 3B. Word choice is going to matter here because the word crib can have multiple meanings, where we lay infants, and of course, what we call when we lift something or steal something or take something, to crib something, right? So it's going to work on both counts. She obviously is going to play that game. Crib. From the Greek for woven or plaited, which quickly translated to basket, whence the verb crib, which meant to filch under cover of wicker anything, some liquor, a cutlet. For we want to make off with things that are not our own. There is a pleasure theft brings, a vitality to the home. Cribbed objects or answers keep their guilty shimmer forever. Have you noticed? Yet religions downplay this. Note, for instance, in our annual rehearsals of innocence, the substitution of manger for crib, as if we ever deserved that baby, or thought we did. Now, I love the tone of this poem as we conclude. Notice how the poem begins with the Greeks and ends with the Christian, what she will call annual rehearsals of innocence, the Christmas story, the nativity scenes, in other words, the story of a manger and all of that. So much is happening in this poem that isn't actually articulated. Let's pay attention to it for a few moments. First of all, let's pay attention to the way that she plays games with language. It's wonderful. We start with the Greek, we talk about the origination of the word crib, and ultimately then we get to this notion of filch or to take, right? And then she talks about how stolen waters are sweeter. The Bible's book of Proverbs will argue, and we have something very similar here. There is a pleasure theft brings, a vitality to the home. Cribbed objects or answers keep their guilty shimmer forever. Have you noticed? Now that have you noticed will remind us immediately at 3A of E.E. Cummings, will remind us of Whitman, the way that the poet-speaker likes to talk directly to the reader. And then the poem will shift, and you get the sense this is where we were headed all the time. A critique of the ways in which religion, organized faiths, will sometimes not be able to so easily speak to the realities of existence. Like, for example, the notion of the beauty of cribbing or the beauty of theft. Ending, of course, with the idea that often we don't deserve the very idea that the Christ child will represent in the nativity scene, or we thought that we did, right? And in the end, this can be a wonderful critique on religious hypocrisy, we might say, or views of religion that are narrow-minded, we might even say, right? Now, there's a couple of quick observations at level 2A that we can make, right? Our language, obviously, changes over time, but also our language changes us over time. And of course, we are, as we've said many times, we are the stories we tell, the stories we retell, the stories we accept, but we're also, as we've often said, and here's a classic example of it, the stories that we decide to reject. And certainly, notice Kay Ryan's going to play that game of cribbing. At 2B, well, I love this satiric tone, right? Notice we'll start with the Greeks, we end, of course, with a Christian festival of innocence, right? Reminding us at 3A maybe of a poem like Wordsworth's "The world is too much with us. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lay of glimpses, that would make me less forlorn." In other words, Wordsworth says what I think Kay Ryan is saying here. The Greeks seem to have had a better understanding. Let's jump to Nietzsche's great essay, Apollonian Dionysianism, from our World of Ideas lectures. You can find that at LearnStrong as well. Of course, we mentioned E.E. Cummings, immediately comes to mind. As well, I want to suggest that there seems to be a bit of Emily Dickinson stuff here as well. That's speaking directly to the reader. Have you noticed that kind of thing? Finally, at 3B, what is your view of language change? For example, we play games, as we have said in other lectures. Matter, that which is the substructure of all that we see, versus the word it matters, as in it matters to me. And how those two words become interchangeable. Words such as love, words such as religion, for example. What is for you your view of language change, and what are your favorite ways to kind of identify the way that that happens? That is to say, the development of words, the nature of religious belief. This poem speaks to both of those things, right? And the ways that those things can be taken. Of course, a theological reading of this poem as well will point out that there's interesting connections between different faiths. So, for example, Christianity is an extension, some have argued a thieving, a cribbing, if you will, a taking, a filching of the Jewish faith. Very interesting idea. Wonderful, wonderful little poem. I hope this will lead you to want to read more of Ryan's stuff. Thank you.